tunaweza keti chini. Thank you very much. Let's take our seats. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to join you this morning here in OLKARIA, Nakuru County to unveil this critical and transformative investment and venture, the KAISHAN Green Ammonia Fertilizer Project. This project stands as a flagship of Kenya's green industrialization transformation, a compelling example of how energy, technology, and vision can converge to drive national prosperity, create opportunities for employment, expand opportunities for jobs and investment, and restore dignity to people. This is a very important event. I have been out of my office for a week. Today, when I landed in my office, I had a full desk with papers and stuff. But this was so important to me that I had to postpone even my trip to Qatar to be able to preside over this function. Many may not know the significance of what we are doing here today. Let me say, for many to understand, this event is historic because of three and many reasons. I'll give you a few. But one, this event represents an investment of $800 million. That is close to 100 billion shillings. It demonstrates confidence in the Republic of Kenya, and it gives us an indication of what investors think about Kenya. When we say we have stabilized our economy, we have brought inflation under control, we have stabilized our exchange rate, and our economy is on sound footing, this is what you get: confidence by investors to put their money in our country. Number two, it is significant because for the first time in the African soil, fertilizer will be produced from ammonia that is coming from green energy. This is the first ever plant in this continent that this is going to happen. We have been in many meetings. Ever since I came into office, I held the Africa Climate Summit to discuss how to balance environment and nature, and to persuade many who do not see how it is possible for us to live in a world that is sustainable and to have energy that does not interfere with nature. Today is a testimony that green energy is not only sustainable, but it is possible to power our energy needs using green energy. And number three, this event is significant because it speaks to the heart of our nation, and that is farming. And I speak so passionately as a farmer myself that we will now have fertilizer that is not imported. For record, we spend close to 80 billion shillings every year to import fertilizer to Kenya. This plant will now generate fertilizer from our own geothermal resources, using local products, using local raw materials, local energy, local human capital, and 480 metric tons is close to 9.2 million 50 kilogram bags of fertilizer. That means that not only will farmers have a reliable supply of fertilizer that is not predicated on events elsewhere in the world, whether we have war in Europe or elsewhere, We will not have trouble with logistics. But much more importantly, it's going to save us on our foreign exchange. We will not be using our foreign exchange to import fertilizer. We will be producing fertilizer from our own resources. And therefore, this is a very significant investment and a very significant project for Kenya. It is also important for us to know that while I have pursued the chairman, we were supposed to do this with a different company called FFI, but they let us down. But when I discussed with the chairman of KAISHAN, and he offered to step in, I have been on this project for the last 2.5 years. I think I have had countless meetings in my office. My good friend, the former CEO of GDC there, who is now an advisor in my office, has been working with me and my economic team to see how we can bring this to fruition. And so I am very, very proud this moment. This morning is a great morning for Kenya and for those of us who are farmers. I am making the first order of 5,000 bags of fertilizer. The first fertilizer I will be the one to use in my farm. Because for decades, farmers, who are the cornerstone of our nation, have borne the burden of unpredictable fertilizer prices, supply shocks, and global volatility. These challenges have inflated food costs, reduced yields, and strained household incomes. In 2023 alone, Kenya imported more than 600 metric tons of fertilizer at a cost of close to 80 billion shillings. In just the first half of 2025, we have imported 443 tons of fertilizer worth nearly 60 billion. That is between January and now. Each shipment represents a cost to our national treasury and to our dollar reserves, and a lost opportunity for young people in Kenya. This government is determined to change that reality, and today's event marks a decisive step towards self-sufficiency and resilience in fertilizer production. The Kenyan KAISHAN Green Fertilizer Plant will produce, as I have said, 480 metric tons of fertilizer every year, guaranteeing farmers a steady and affordable supply. It will shield our economy from global price shocks, strengthen food security, and save the country's valuable foreign exchange reserves that can be now redirected to other national priorities. From deep beneath the Rift Valley flows one of our greatest industrial treasures, the geothermal steel. Kenya holds an estimated 10,000 megawatts of geothermal potential, yet we have harnessed just less than 10,000 or 10%, which is 1,000 megawatts. Kenya's leadership in geothermal energy gives us a unique advantage to power green industries sustainably. This project will tap 165 megawatts of geothermal power to synthesize green ammonia and convert it into fertilizer, the first project of its kind in Africa. Beyond fertilizer production, this venture will prevent more than 600 tons of carbon dioxide emission every year, equivalent to getting 130,000 internal combustion engine cars off the road. At the same time, it will create more than 1,000 jobs, offering opportunities for our young people and local communities. It will also nurture a new generation of geothermal engineers, hydrogen experts, process operators, and innovators in many fields, the pioneers who will power Africa's green industrialization future. Beyond its environmental and social impact, this project is also a sound commercial investment. With a total investment value of US dollars 800 million, it is projected to generate more than 13 million US dollars, that is 1.7 billion Kenya shillings in annual profits to KenGen, while opening new frontiers for carbon credit generation and trading under international climate mechanisms. Around the world, markets are rewarding sustainability. Green fertilizer will give Kenyan exports a competitive edge, open new markets for our agribusinesses, and strengthen our position in global value chains. Kenya is proud to lead Africa in proving that green innovation is both profitable and sustainable. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all appreciate, investments in energy are among the most capital-intensive ventures any nation can undertake. Expanding generation, transmission, and distribution requires massive upfront resources, yet it remains the foundation of every thriving economy. Without affordable and reliable power, there cannot be true industrialization, no thriving enterprise, and no inclusive prosperity. That is why we must pursue innovative and sustainable pathways to expand our national energy capacity. Kenya cannot realize her industrial and development aspirations on the current installed capacity of 2,300 megawatts. To power our ambition in manufacturing, mining, agriculture, infrastructure, and digital innovation, we must think bigger, move faster, and invest smarter. As government, we have therefore set out an ambitious target to increase our national energy capacity to at least 10,000 megawatts in the next decade. Achieving this goal will demand bold partnerships, creative financing, and strategic foresight. It is the reason why we are not only giving priority to public-private partnerships, such as the one we launched here today, but also establishing a national infrastructure fund to mobilize long-term blended capital for transformative projects, not only in energy, but also in transport, in our airports, in roads, in our dams, and other critical enablers of growth. As we expand our energy base, we are also transforming how we manage water and food security. We must be a nation that dreams boldly and executes decisively. Our target is to build 50 new mega dams across the country, bringing at least 2.5 million acres of land under irrigation to secure our food supply, boost agricultural productivity, and expand our agricultural exports. We cannot claim to be a food secure nation while still depending on rain-fed agriculture. Expanded irrigation will enable us to cut our current food import bill, now standing at Kenya shillings 500 billion shillings annually, and redirect those resources to finance our national transformation agenda. At the same time, we must expand our road network. And speaking about what I have said here, the Member of Parliament who represents the next constituency here, on behalf of the other leaders from this region, it is our intention that as we expand the job opportunities that will be found in this KenGen, as was said by KenGen management, they will involve the local community here in making sure that the young people that come from this area become part and parcel of the workforce that will drive this great investment. Let me also say that as we expand our generation from geothermal, I'm very happy that there's a lot of expertise that has been built at KenGen on dam construction. As we do the 50 mega dams, we should be able to generate an extra 2,000 megawatts of energy and also store enough water to irrigate 2.5 million acres of land, because at the moment, the land under production in rain-fed agriculture is almost depleted, and therefore the only potential that exists for us to generate and produce more food and stop importing food to Kenya is to go irrigation. Irrigation therefore requires us to store water and to also make sure that we generate energy using that water as we use it for irrigation. And therefore, I am looking forward to working with the leaders in this space, members of parliament, both at the National Assembly and the Senate, as we push the new initiative that will give us an infrastructure fund that is going to work with the private sector. We all realize that unless we leverage the private sector, we will not have enough resources to drive our transformation. But if we work with the private sector, like in this particular case, KAISHAN is investing $800 million. That is 100 billion shillings. That is not our money. That is not in the balance sheet of the Kenya government. It is private sector money. But how are we connecting the dots? We are giving them a power purchase agreement. We are going to give them a fertilizer purchase agreement that is going to support this investment. The National Infrastructure Fund will be able to be the fulcrum where we can structure more investments, leveraging on public resources, public assets, to leverage private sector resources to be able to implement public projects. Just here in Naivasha, this month, I will be coming to launch the road from Rironi to Mau Summit. It is going to cost anywhere between 170 and 200 billion. Again, it is not public money. How are we leveraging the private sector? This is private sector money. We are going to give them a concession agreement that is going to generate resources for them to repay their investment. And this is the kind of innovation and creativity that we need in the public sector for us to use public assets, public resources to leverage 3, 4, 5 times private sector resources to be able to drive our transformation. It is no longer possible for us to borrow money to build a road like the one we are going to build here from Rironi to Mau Summit. If we were to borrow 200 billion shillings, we would have to close our books and do nothing else. So it is important for us to know, how are we going to think outside the box? We need to be strategic, we need to be innovative, and we need to be agile in how we leverage the resources that we have. And that is why I am determined that our country has tremendous potential, and we've always talked about it, but we haven't actualized because there has not been enough strategic thinking, enough creative and innovative investments to be able to unlock the great potential that our country is. And that is why I insist that Kenya is a third world country by mistake. And we owe it to the people of Kenya to get Kenya to the right place. Kenya is supposed to be among the first world countries. And we can do it in our lifetime if we are strategic, if we are innovative, and if we can think outside the box. And therefore, I am very confident that this investment energizes our resolve of transforming Kenya to that great nation that it should be. When I say that we should expand, and this is the plan that I'm going to lay out to the people of Kenya, that we should have at least a minimum of 1,000 kilometers of dual carriageway tolled, so that we can have enough superhighways in Kenya. I have instructed the Ministry of Roads to work on the first 10,000 kilometers priority list and another 10,000 kilometers phase 2, so that instead of haggling about 2 kilometers here, 10 kilometers there, 20 kilometers here, and we are scrambling and there is negative competition, we should be bold and do between 10 and 20,000 kilometers so that we can connect every part of Kenya and make every region believe that they belong to one great nation called Kenya. At the same time, I will be, and I'm happy that the members of parliament are here. When you go back to parliament, you will find on your desk a proposal from me on sovereign wealth fund and national infrastructure fund, because that is how we are going to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country. I remember the other day when I said we need about 4 trillion shillings to be able to do our roads, to be able to do 10,000 kilometers of 10,000 megawatts of energy, and to be able to do 2.5 million acres of irrigation. Many people think that 4 trillion shillings is not feasible. If this project alone is 100 billion, 4 trillion is just around the corner. And I'm going to show you how we are going to get 4 trillion and transform this nation. Already, as I talk to you, I remember when I was in Ethiopia, and I mentioned that we have signed contracts of $4 billion under our housing program. Many people questioned the statistics. I want to repeat. Let me put it in Kenya shillings. $4 billion is roughly close to beyond 500 billion Kenya shillings, almost 600. That is the contracts we have signed in our housing, in our markets, in our hostels. And we have done it using our own resources. We have not borrowed a shilling from anybody. That is how you transform a nation. And that is how we're going to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country in our lifetime, by doing the innovative stuff, by working with creativity, by having strategic foresight. I welcome all leaders. I'm happy members of parliament are here, and every other Kenyan, that we're going to work together. This is the scale of our ambition and the measure of our determination to build a modern, food-secure nation supported by world-class infrastructure that powers opportunity and prosperity for every Kenyan. Together, we are called upon to dream boldly, act decisively, and deliver a future of shared prosperity. One of the presidents of the United States said, leaders are measured by the vision they have and the price they are willing to pay for its achievement. I want to challenge every leader in Kenya that the vision we have for our nation, we must be willing to pay the price for its achievement. Thank you very much. My very best wishes to KAISHAN and KENGEN. I look forward to coming here in 2027 in April to open the plant. And I look forward to your supply of fertilizer in August, as you have told me. I want to be the first farmer to use green fertilizer from our own resources. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
One more round of applause for His Excellency's wonderful speech. May I request that we take our seats briefly? Your Excellency, we have some gifts for you. Let's take our seats, please. Kindly, let's take our seats. And the first gift is from KENGEN. So let me invite the MD